that came through. I scratched it, and it turned on. Technology. Anyway, the game today. It's called Flashover. I'm just gonna skip the intro. There were shapes, and they're real jerks. So, this game is meant to evoke the style and presentation of Flash games from, like, the early 2000s that a lot of people played on, say, Armor games and such in school while pretending they're doing work, like I did. I will say, I dipped my toes in, as I often do. It feels good to play. It doesn't feel like a Flash game. If you want something to feel like a Flash game, it's actually pretty easy. All you need to do is have a short contained game where you get points, and then you spend those points in an upgrade store to make your character stronger, and then you do the same thing again. This time you'll get more points because you're stronger, right? And then you spend those points to get stronger again, over and over, until you buy out the whole upgrade store, and what was once a piddly little attempt at, say, flying a paper airplane is now a jet-powered megacopter going to the moon. And that's how you make a Flash game. That's what they all were. Fancy. Fancy with grid. But let's just start this game. This is a pretty simple left-to-right shmup. I can say immediately that there is one thing it does that I don't like, in that one of the most dangerous things the enemy can do is just fly at you. I don't like it when shmups do that. Shoot me with your bullets, not with your bodies. So, the hitbox on your guy is really small. It is not the whole triangle, not even close. But you can see just this tiny little dot in, not exactly the middle of the triangle, but it's sort of like the 1/3 from the right point. That's the hitbox and nothing else. I can get the whole rest of my model in an attack or an enemy's hitbox, and it's a-okay, as long as that little point doesn't go in there. So at the beginning of the game, I guess sort of as an accessibility option, you can choose as many lives as you want, and if you choose 99, it'll just be unlimited. And in each stage, there are sub-objectives you can see at the bottom that change the next stage somehow. I don't know how that works. I'm not going to really bother with it, at least not immediately. But, otherwise, everything goes sort of as normal. Normal shmup rules apply. Things like streaming bullets and doing slight movements works really well due to your small and known hitbox. There's no extra lives that you can get or anything like that. Instead, just you have whatever you chose to start with at the beginning of every level, and if you run out, you start back at the beginning of that level. So, since I chose the default 5, I'll have 5 this time, 5 next time. If I fail, I'll still have 5. I'll never get any more. The music's fine. It's alright. That was pretty tight. If I could do a no-hit on level 1, that'd be pretty sweet. Oh, I was really close. Almost didn't get it. We're straight on to level 2. Yeah, yep, I got trapped. Let myself get trapped. Yeah, enemies coming from behind and enemies being the main danger, both those aspects just really annoy me in that one was 100% my fault. Those aspects just really annoy me in shmups. You don't see that happen in Toho. If enemies come from behind at all, they're telegraphed. And, generally speaking, enemies actually don't have damaging hitboxes for their models. You can go right on top of them. In some bosses, that's actually the safest spot to be, is right on top of them. So a game that says, no, you can't do that. I don't like that. I'm doing very poorly this time. I just sort of tricked myself into believing I could walk through the enemy. You know what? Let's just start over. You see, you get right back into it. Oh, must no fuss. You even maintain your score. Boo. I also hate walls. Walls have no place in shmups. The only thing that should hurt you are attacks. And walls just existing are not attacks. So already, the game has kind of pushed a couple of my buttons. With decisions that aren't necessarily wrong, just not the ones I like. The difficulty also seems quite high, for there being no proper difficulty setting. Just a lives counter. And the thing about having as many lives as you want, that doesn't actually make the game easier. Sure, it makes it more beatable, but a game is easy or hard depending on the level of skill required to achieve mastery, not the ability to complete it. That's my opinion. And that's sort of, boo. I'd say the, one thing you can apply that to, incidentally, is FF15, which has a reputation of being a very easy game. But I would argue that it's actually not. Because I would consider getting downed and needing to use an item to be a fail state. Basically, try to beat the game without any items, and you'll find that suddenly it's a lot more difficult. Oh, but of course it would be difficult if you don't use items. Yeah, so the game is absolutely beatable without items, without even probably ever getting hit at all. If you're good at it, but no one really bothers getting good. The people who would, speedrunners, have no incentive to do so because items are so strong, and you're not really seeing people doing, like, no-hit challenges in the same way you would, like, I don't know, Kingdom Hearts. Or Dark Souls or something. But I think they would find that if they tried, it would be quite difficult. So then doesn't that make it a difficult game? I think saying that the items are strong so the game is easy is kind of missing the point. Like, it feels disingenuous to use every tool to its maximum potential to get by any means necessary in a game, and then call it easy, when you could very reasonably completely do without those things and just have to get by playing well. Boo. But this game offering no ability to change the difficulty other than essentially being given more Phoenix downs, it just doesn't feel like the right decision to me. Of course, difficulty modes take time. You have to plan out new, less intense patterns to have players get through. But programming in, you know, lives plus 1, lives plus N button is considerably easier. Like, if I just wanted to beat the levels, yeah, absolutely, I could set the lives to maximum. But I don't think I'd have much fun of it. I mean, really, at that point, you could just sit still in a level and always beat it. Does that make the game easy? I could do it. But that seems to also be completely missing the point. And so, yeah, the game is hard because doing well at it is hard. It's not easy because I could choose to make it easy. A game should be judged on its difficulty based on its highest difficulty, not its lowest. Because having a low difficulty option only makes a game accessible and improves the potential install base. Heck, even Dark Souls has an easy mode. It's called Summoning Phantoms. Have someone else do it for you. That's pretty easy. It's also the power of friendship. I have done this once before. When I was practicing, I beat this on my second try. But I suppose I am, you know, talking, and so I'm a little distracted. Got him. Short of memorizing, the only way to deal with enemies that spawn behind you is to just sort of try and just guess and go for it, which feels awful. Because after a certain point, no amount of reflexes is going to save you. Not everything in a shmup needs to be reactable, but the stuff that isn't reactable needs to be, like, restricted to a super duper difficulty that you're meant to go through dozens of times until you just have it memorized. Like, an extra, oh, I meant cheat. An extra stage in a Toho game. Those don't necessarily have everything being reactable, but you're expected to have to try it lots and lots of times. It's more of a dance than a traditional level. Well, fine. Blue. Oh, I just flubbed to that. Luckily, the boss of this level is pretty easy, and here it is. It's just a bunch of those button parts. So be ready to sort of scamper off to them and you're good. And yeah, his pattern gets more involved, but like, not that much more. After a point, you're really just going to be focusing on dodging the bullets and dodging. But if you know to just keep your gun on and as you're crossing over where he is, you'll get him eventually. That was pretty spicy. I am trying to do one of the secondary objectives where I avoid hitting the square buttons. The square buttons will always automatically open the door. And they're sort of a failsafe. And I got it. Uh-oh, lasers. This is as far as I got while testing. I made it a good ways into the level, but I didn't finish it. Luckily, the lasers are the epitome of attacks that you can stream. Just be not in the same spot you were when they were aimed, and you'll always dodge them. Or I suppose you could get nailed by the verticality or sort of horizontality of them. Horizontalitude. Thickness. Oh, that was so good, though. That was going so well. I haven't even looked at what the objective is. I think it's based on, like, killing exactly a certain number of enemies. Yeah, 50 stars exactly. No, thanks. I'll just beat this one however I please. That was pretty tight. Yeah, just like that. Oh! And see, like, how could I have possibly reacted to that? I just got punished for standing in the wrong spot. As opposed to, like, doing something wrong. Which is why I hate enemy collision in shmups. Oh, they're hurting each other, aren't they? Yeah, I don't think my shots are doing anything. I'm still gonna hold it on, because I mean, like, what else am I gonna do with my left hand? That's cute. That's a neat idea for a boss, even if it is just an auto-scroller. Stream them, stream them, stream them. You don't have to look at them, you just have to know how to avoid them. It is kind of neat, the idea of not really fighting a boss so much as in the middle of two bosses fighting each other. You just have to wait for them to defeat each other. Ah. Lots of lasers. They're really getting each other now. That was cool. I like that one. Bigger ships tension the storm. They sure are bigger. It's funny how Shmup Tactics actually does what I want from a shmup, which is not having any environmental hazards and also allowing you to touch enemy ships without getting hurt. But not this one. That's because Shmup Tactics is the best shmup. That game rules. Incidentally, someone else has submitted a run, actually 2 runs, on the leaderboards for that game, which I'm now the super moderator of. They're playing on easy, and they managed a 13-something on easy, using the shield no less, which I thought was very impressive. The shield has a really slow start, and is sort of starved on money, because you're not getting many kills, but you, oh, boom. Already on the boss. Oh, it gets big and little. But, the ability to just stay safe with the shield's, like, shield bash attack is really handy for going fast in the later stages. Get the shield, the bubble shield, and the shield's own bash, and, you can really stay very safe, very easily in the later stages and save a lot of time. Probably also be more marathon safe. I don't know how well the strategy would work on normal. The only real difference is the enemies have more fuel on higher difficulty, so they take more actions. The song's sounding a little, Gen 3 Pokemon. The pattern just feels really natural to me. Oh, even though I am doing it really slowly. Yeah, let's get some good hits in there. Ah. Okay. I got sloppy, but I made it. Where's the big guy? Just a moment. Yeah, I'm still just so paranoid that I'm not actually streaming, but it says I'm streaming. Shoot some fast ones. Yeah, just like small periodic movements and then figure it out from there. Oh, that was a narrow one. Yeah, that looked like I should have gotten hit, but just doing the streaming, just slowly moving, really CPU 100%, really gets you there. You can't be just moving towards the where the bullets are coming from. That won't work. Let's see if I can get this done on my first try. This is the final stage, it says. Yep, just small movements. Like, I wasn't able to read what was going on. I just had a read on how to dodge it. That's why the most dangerous bullets are the ones that aren't aimed at you. Those are the ones that you're gonna get hit by. Or if you get trapped. That can happen too. But you're only getting trapped usually by bullets that aren't aimed at you. Yep, I just wasn't focusing hard enough. Sneaky. Oh, Oh, it's getting down to the wire. Got 12 somethings. Restricting your movement to a single axis can also help in dodging more difficult attacks. Because often it doesn't really help to dodge in a bunch of different ways, necessarily. And it makes it harder to keep track of. But I got him! Look at that, I got 1,000,000 points. And I had my mouse cursor on screen the whole time, didn't I? That just adds to the authenticity. I probably only put it on there when I checked to see if it was streaming. But that was a snacky little game. We'll see if there's any other things I can be doing with it. I'm not exactly keen on going through and doing all the side objectives. Just, yeah, no thanks. Bringleby must fight the Hexacocodrome in final combat, or it'll be the end of Shapes as we know it. And then what? One might imagine even the Squircle. That's my read on the story. The Square is wanted in 8 states for murder. No matter what they tell you, it's not hip to be square. So I've already got the schedule up, or not up, but ready for next week. I accidentally picked a lot of like Halloween themed games. Not horror games exactly, but like spooky scary skeletons kind of games. I mean, one even has Halloween in the name. But I will be playing an Obelisk and summing up the stuff that I missed when I played it for 2 hours without streaming it. I'll be playing more Nuclear Throne. I'm not yet, like, able to beat it consistently or anything. I've only beaten it once now, off stream. But I am getting to the last world decently often. And if I played Crystal more, who is just the best character it seems, I think I could do it more reasonably. And I'm also going to be playing Micro Mages, which is a really good NES homebrewed game. That is 32 kilobytes if you download the ROM version. If you download the PC executable version, it goes up to 4 megabytes. Excuse me. I'm still here. You know, it's funny, the game probably thinks that the final boss is the hardest one because it is just, like, a lot of bullets. But because it follows shmup rules in a way that the enemy waves don't, I actually found it a lot easier. The most dangerous thing... that's it. The most dangerous thing in this